Hey mathematicians, let's do your homework. Okay, so we're mostly going to be working on dividing with fractions today, but on a test like we have on Friday, it's not necessarily going to say this is a dividing fraction problem. So there are a few that are not dividing sprinkled in here just to keep you on your toes. All right, number one, a baker is making croissants. He has 18 pounds of dough. Before he starts making croissants, he's got one big pile of dough. That's what we start with. Then we break it up into smaller pieces to make our croissants. But if it's what you have to start with, then that's the first number in your problem. Each croissant is made from 1/8 pound of dough. So you're going to take all your dough and split it into equal pieces the size of a croissant. You're going to make them both fractions. That's step one. You're going to keep the first one exactly the same. You're going to change the second one to multiplication. You're going to find the reciprocal of this second fraction. So I guess the second step is to change the operation, not this fraction. You're going to find the reciprocal of 1/8. Reciprocal is the math vocab word for flip it. So the 1 was on top, now the 1's on the bottom. The 8 was on the bottom, now it's on the top. And then you're going to multiply. 18 times 8, I don't know, let's check. 8 times 8 is 64. 8 plus 6 is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And that's not my answer because it's not simplified. You need to divide it by 1. No fraction, that's my answer. A chef is putting 16 cups, no, not 16 cups, that would be really gross. 16 cups of cream, 1/16 of a cup of cream, so a very small amount, like just the little bloop in the middle of the soup to make it look fancy. 1/16 cups of cream on top of the soup in each bowl. There are 12 cups of cream. So picture it in your head, you've got the chef who's ready to serve a bunch of people. They've got all the bowls of soup. They've got this big jar of cream, and they're going to spoon it out and be like, doop, a little bit there, doop, a little bit there. They are not starting with 1/16 because that's just for one bowl of soup. They're going to make more than one bowl of soup. They are starting with their big jar of cream, which is the 12 cups. And then they're going to spoon out the 1/16 cup, put it on this bowl of soup, spoon out the next one, put it on this bowl of soup. They're making equal amounts, equal groups. Okay, that's another indication this is division. Equal groups the size of 1/16. So this is really saying how many 1/16ths makes 12 holes. If you wanted to solve it like that, you'd be drawing 12 rectangles and cutting them all into 16 pieces. So maybe drawing is not our friend here. We're going to make this into a fraction. We're going to keep our first fraction the same. We're going to change it. We're going to multiply by the reciprocal of our second fraction. The reciprocal of 1/16 is 16 over 1. Okay, I think you can tell where we're headed here. They're both fractions. We can multiply it, numerator times numerator, 12 times 16. You do that. I'll do the denominators. 1 times 1 is 1. And you're probably not going to end up writing over 1 because any whole number you can divide by 1 and just get that as your answer. Scrolling, scrolling. Oops, doing something weird. Ellen plans to interview some applicants. Those are people who are applying for a job for a position in her office. So these are people who want this job at her office. If she scheduled 1/4 of an hour to meet with each of them, how much time did she schedule for all 6 applicants? All 6 people. Okay, so I've got 6 people. I'm trying to picture it in my head here. There's person 1. There's person 2. They're a little freaked out by this interview. They're a little nervous. There's person 3. They stressed about it all night, and so now they're asleep. There's person 4 who's like very unhappy. They don't want to be there. They want their old job back. This person is like, I'm here. And this person, cool as a cucumber, they're like, yeah, I can do this. Each person gets 1/4 of an hour. 1/4 for you, 1/4 for you. 1/4 of an hour is 15 minutes. So they get a 15-minute interview. 1/4 for you. Does this feel like a division problem? I don't think it does. We are going to multiply 1/4, because I'm already tired of writing 1/4. I don't want to write out 6 of them, times 6. And just like when we have fractions for dividing, when we have fractions for multiplying, they both need to be fractions. So this is going to be 6 over 1. Be careful, because I will not accept an unsimplified version. And I'm already spotting that 6 and 4 are both both multiples of 2. So thinking you might actually have to divide this more so than just this dividing. That'll give you a mixed number, but the fraction won't be simplified. So either way, simplify now, simplify later, you're going to have to simplify the fraction. All right, 1/8 gram of copper and 1/3 gram of silicone. I don't have an example for copper. It's that shiny, usually like penny colored stuff. Silicone is this kind of plasticky, kind of soft plastic. Both of those things are used to manufacture, to make headphones. 30 headphones. So you need this much copper and this much silicone to make 30 headphones. My question is, how much silicone is used for one pair, each pair? So we don't actually care about the copper. If 1/3 of a gram of silicone makes 30 headphones, then we need to find out how much makes one pair of headphones. Probably less than 1/3 of a gram. Probably 30 times less. If I find a relationship here, and I'm kind of modeling a strategy I'm going to teach you in the next unit when we do ratios here. If I have 30 and I'm trying to get to 1, I can get there by dividing it by 30. But what I do to one side of my equal sign, I got to do the other, so I'm going to do 1/3 divided by 30, which also looks like 1/3 divided by 30 written out side to side. Let's see if you can do this one. Make them both fractions, keep, change, flip, simplify any final answers if needed. Back page. Olivia has half a pizza. Yum pizza. Not that part. That part she doesn't have. Half a pizza, and she wants to share it equally. Share it equally. This is a division problem with a friend. How much pizza will Olivia get? Well, she starts with half a pizza. Now I'm really hungry. I'd like pizza. And she's going to share it with a friend. Not just one person, because Olivia would also like pizza. She's also hungry. So Olivia and her friend mean we're cutting this into 2 parts. You can do it mathematically, or you can do boop, like that. And then my question is, how much does Olivia get? Not together with her friend, just Olivia. This is Olivia's slice. This is friend's slice. Olivia gets 1/4 of the pizza, which is the same thing you get when you keep, change, flip. Like that. But I am okay if you are comfortable with this strategy. I don't always need to see the keep, the change, the flip. If you can draw it out and get the accurate answer, that counts as your scratch work. It takes, oh, there go the lights. It takes 1/4 cup of oil to bake 1 cake. Why are they all about food when I haven't had dinner yet? If the baker has 6 cups of oil, how many cakes can she make? She is not starting with already done cakes. That would be wonderful if you could just snap your fingers and have cake. But she's starting with the ingredients. She is starting with the oil, and then she's going to split up all that oil into, here's one recipe, here's the next recipe, 4th sized amounts. Make them fractions, keep, change, flip. Miss Murphy's class is making pillowcases. Each pillowcase uses 3/4 of a yard of fabric. How many pillowcases can they make out of 12 yards? Probably more than 1, because 1 only takes this much. So, if I'm not asking about how much will it take to make a new amount, I'm telling you how many yards I have, I'm not asking you how much I need, I'm telling you what I have. That's another indication that I'm going to be dividing, not multiplying. So I'm starting with all my fabric, and I cut it into, there's 3/4, that'll make a pillowcase, there's another 3/4. I'm trying to figure out how many 3/4 are in 12. Again, I think it's faster to do the make them both fractions, keep, change, flip, but you could actually draw out, and I'll draw it here. I drew out my 12 yards. Remember that you only draw the first thing, what you have. You're not drawing a picture of 3/4. You're going to cut these in 2/4. But my answer is not 48, because that would be counting by 1/4. You're counting by 3/4. So it's not a super efficient strategy. I'm just showing it for the people who really liked the picture strategy. There's 1 group. There's 2 groups, there's 3 groups, there's 4 groups. There's 5 groups, there's 6 groups, there's 7 groups, there's 8 groups. Notice I'm only shading in 3 out of the 4s. 9, 10, 11, 12, but don't leave this one and this one and this one hanging. That makes 3/4 as well. So that's actually 4, 8, 12, 16 groups. I'm guessing my answer is going to be 16. Let's just double check it. 12 over 1 times 4 over 3. That gives me 48 divided by 3, which equals 16. So you can do a drawing. It just might take you a little more time. But if drawings are what you're comfortable with and that really makes sense to you, go for it. You're going to get the same answer. Last one has a math answer and a real life answer. So the bookshelf is 4 feet long. Each shelf is 5/8 of an inch wide. I'm sorry, not each shelf. Each book on the shelf is 5/8 of an inch wide. We're trying to figure out how many books will fit on this shelf. So we take our shelf and we split it up into book-sized pieces. So I've got 4 over 1 times 8/5. I'm going to wind up with 32/5, which I'm going to simplify by dividing. Not really simplifying, just making a mixed number. 5 goes into 3 0 times, 5 goes into 32 6 times, with a remainder of 2. So my math answer is 6 2/5. But 6 2/5 books? As someone who loves books, I would never rip one up into 2/5 of the book. You're either missing the whole good beginning or most of the end. So that's your math answer, but your real life answer, you'd probably round down. You cannot fit 7 whole books on there, so we're not rounding up. Even if it was 6 4/5, and that is closer to 7 than it is to 6, you can't round up if there's not space on the shelf. So thinking about it real life-wise, I would have 6 books on this shelf and just a little bit of extra space because I can't rip up a book that just wouldn't be real life smart. Math smart, yes, the answer has a remainder of 2/5. Real life, if this was multiple choice, there might be an option that says 6 and an option that says 7. You should go with the 6.